What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Progressive Action TV show. I am your host, Tramel Thompson, and I want to tell you guys about a serious situation that happened over the weekend where a train operator got seriously burned. He had to go to the hospital. And what a lot of people don't understand is that we work in pairs as a train crew. And when situations like this happen, and in this particular situation, you would have someone get physically hurt, and then you will have someone get mentally hurt or harmed or whatever the case is. And that's the reason why I'm doing today's show without getting into too much detail. But I do have conductor Michele Williams with us today. How you doing, Miss Williams?
Okay, I'm doing okay because I'm home.
Yeah, yeah. How much time do you have on the job?
5 years now.
5 years. How do you like the job?
I don't like the job.
You don't you don't like the
It's
job.
challenging. It's challenging.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the situation you had to deal with this past weekend. Let me ask you a question off topic. What makes the job challenging in your opinion?
I think it's the safety risk for me.
Say, oh, so safety. I mean, it's a major concern, and it's real. It's real.
Yeah, yeah. The
But
the what if is always in the back of my mind.
got you understood. So, your partner was involved in a serious incident this past weekend. Could you tell us a little bit about it without getting into too much detail?
So there was an explosion. I looked out my cab window and I saw the train operator move some debris, and then the next thing I know, he went. The next thing I saw him, he moved back under the train, and there was an explosion, and I saw like a yellow ball of fire, and then I didn't know where he was at.
Did you
So,
did he make any radio transmissions or anything like, or just went silent?
um, well, after the explosion, it went silent because I didn't hear from him. I didn't hear um, yeah, I told control. I let them know there was an explosion, and that I didn't know where he was at that point. So, and then shortly after that, he was at my window, and he showed me he was burnt, and he had yeah, he was burnt bad.
Wow. And what was going through your mind at that time?
I was kind of in shock because I wasn't expecting to be at my window. Like I said, I didn't know what had happened to him after the explosion. I thought something that he was on the roadbed because I saw an explosion. And
Got
then the next time he was at my window. And that kind of shocked me because I see him. That's the first time I saw him that night. And we communicated through IC, but that's the first time I saw him at night when he was burnt. And it was, the burns were so extensive that I was shocked to see him in that way.
wow. People don't understand our jobs that we work with a partner and we may
Mhm.
not even see who they are. We just hear their voice for the whole entire day. It's one of the uniquenesses of our job. But at that point, I'm quite sure, shortly after that at least, medical help arrived, and what happened after that when medical arrived.
Well, a whole bunch of people arrived. Police department, some CAT crew, RCI, TSS. One TSS came down and went to see about him in the ambulance. 'Cause by that time, he was in the ambulance, and I was just standing on the platform trying to figure out what I should be doing.
Whoa, 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 whoa. So let me try to assess this for a second. You actually witnessed this huge explosion. Your partner come to your window, and you say that he's extensively burned. And
Mhm.
once the ball get rolling, um, I guess they try to make sure that he's good, but they just leave you on the platform. No one at all asks you how you doing. Are you okay?
The only person that asked me how I was doing was a police officer, and he had originally been there when the train went into Briggs emergency because I think they were at the station or they came down, and he was the only person at the end of the situation when the train driver had gotten to emergency care and asked me how I was doing. He was the
Wow.
only
So
person asking that.
wow. So out of all the trans, I just want to get this clear. out of all the transit people who showed up, nobody checked on your well-being.
No.
Wow. So what happened? What happened once you? I guess you had to go back to the terminal. What happened once you got back to the terminal?
So I was told that I would have to probably write a G2 and wait to hear from. I just was told to wait. So I waited, and then I got called later on to contact control and do a G2. And I got called. I mean, I got called so many times about about the report or what happened, talking to different people, you know. And I wrote my G2, and I, at the end of the night, I just felt overwhelmed.
Wow. So they wanted to make sure that you wrote a G2 instead of making sure that your mind state and your mental health was good.
Yeah, and I couldn't reach anybody. I did attempt to call the union rep. So a few, called like two numbers, and it just kept ringing. I didn't get any answer. But before I wrote the G2, because I realized it's probably better for me to get some instruction or guidance on how to write the G2.
No.
But I didn't reach anybody, so I wrote on the top of it, no representation when I wrote it. So,
Wow.
but
Wow. So you.
that's yeah.
Wow. So no union representation. I mean, that is the smart thing to do. I'm happy that you brought that up. Whenever you ask to fill out a G2, whatever you write on that G2 can be used against you at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it was very smart of you to definitely call some reps. And it's sad to say that you was involved in a very critical incident and you couldn't reach not one union rep. So you go home. What's going through your mind at that point?
No, all I see is the train operator and his injuries. I mean, I keep replaying the tape, and I just started feeling more emotionally sad, you
Mhm.
know,
Very, very,
and
very understandable.
yeah,
So did you what day did this actually happen on?
Saturday.
Did you come to work Sunday?
I attempted to come to work Sunday, but I kind of dragged. I kind of dragged trying to get to work. So I did come to work, try to get to work before I started, maybe like 10 or 15 minutes before I started. I spoke to some coworkers about, you know, having a, because I told them I couldn't get to anybody, a union rep, and they gave me some union rep information, numbers. So I called before I went to start because I wanted to explain to them what was going on, and if there was anything I could do because I know I wasn't feeling well.
Hmm.
And I spoke to one gentleman. I don't remember his name, but uh, he explained to me that because it was so late it was late for me to start. 10 minutes before I started, he really couldn't do anything to help me.
Yeah. I mean that's I think now from what I was told, I heard that union rep was the vice president of our department, Canela Gomez.
Oh,
Um,
I remember the name Canella. I saw it on the card, but you know
yeah,
that
yeah,
was it.
yeah. And so just to get that clear, you was going into work. You still didn't have no union contact from when the incident happened. The next day you go into work. You attempt to call another union rep. You call Canella. You tell him what the situation is, and he says that what let us know what he said again.
He said that because I was to start in 10 minutes, is not anything he could do for me. That's
I
what he's
mean,
told me.
that's
He asked what time I was going to start. And I told him it was like maybe 10 or 15 minutes before I was supposed to start. And then that's when he said, I can't call him at that, just before I'm start because there's nothing he could do for me.
that's untrue. For one, I'm here to tell you that that's untrue. Um, a rep can help you at any given second on this property, especially when he was well aware of the
Mhm.
situation because he did make a post. I don't know if you have Facebook, but he did make a post on Facebook saying that he was at the hospital. Him and the president of the union was at the hospital with the train operator.
Wow.
Um, you know, bragging about that, but
Oh,
absolutely
God.
when it came to trying to help you, he could not help you.
That's what he said. And because I don't have that Facebook, I don't
No, no,
do
no,
transit
no.
Facebook.
He didn't say the part about helping you, but he did put up a post on Facebook saying that him and the president of the union was at the hospital as if he was boots on the ground with the entire situation. But what I find ironic is that you totally went ignored during this whole time. Even when you personally got in contact with him, he said that there was nothing he could do for you.
Mhm.
That's co-
Yes,
that's correct.
yes.
Yeah. So all right. So now I guess you took a couple of days off because you know you needed some time to clear your mind. And I guess that's when you got in contact with me. You got in contact with me actually today. And how fast did I get the ball rolling to make sure that your well
Oh,
being?
right away. When you realized I was at the station and I wasn't feeling well, you action right away. Oh, I'm sorry. Then I got a representative contact me and help me and walk me through and just help me feel more at ease because I wasn't sure how they were going to take it because I had taken some time off just to try to get back to work, and it wasn't enough for me
Yeah.
at this point.
I mean, at this point, I think that what you should be focused on is getting yourself back 100%. You
Hmm.
witnessed something very traumatic, and I'm quite sure it's going to have an effect on you for the foreseeable future right now. Let me ask you this: how do you feel? You know, you went through a incident. You couldn't get in touch with no union reps. I'm quite sure you pay your union dues.
Hmm.
Um, how do you feel about the union representation since you went through something for yourself?
Well, it's really not the first time I had a union rep, but I don't trust that they're there for me. I'm just being honest. I know I pay my dues. I would rather pay my dues just in case. But then I realize, when the case comes up, I don't feel like I have like real. I don't understand how the union works for me. Let me just say that. If they work for me or against me, I really don't know. Can't
Um,
say how that works.
I'll tell you this: you're not alone in feeling that way, and I totally get it. And I mean, like I said, from the first time you called me, I'm very sorry that you had to experience this. I don't think that none of us should have to experience something traumatic like this, and we got to continue to work safe and work, careful. Would you like to leave the people with anything, final word, anything that's on your mind?
Get lots of union reps' phone numbers. You can't reach one or two. You need to have a whole list of people to contact if something happens.
Yeah. I mean, but look, you did get in contact with the rep, but he said he couldn't help you. So, you know
Yeah.
what happens when a member go through that? This whole thing is just silly. It's unprofessional, and we as members deserve better representation.
Mm.
Um, Thank you, Conductor
Mhm.
Williams. You did a fine job. If nobody didn't
Thank
tell you, you did a fine job during the incident. I think
thank
that
you.
I think that you should be up for an award by the MTA for helping evacuate the customer safely. Your partner should
Mhm.
be awarded, and we wish him
Mhm.
a
Yes,
speed.
I agree with you there. Mhm.
Yeah,
He should.
we wish him a speedy recovery. Hopefully, he's home by now. I still don't know who he is, but I guess I find out soon enough. But
Mm.
yeah, uh, well wishes to you, and if you need anything, do not hesitate to call me.
Mhm.
Tomorrow we go get the second half of your ball rolling, and
Okay.
just to make sure that you protected. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks for tapping in and sharing your story. It's very important because the members do need to hear experiences
Mhm.
just like yours. So I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for tuning in to the
Good
Progressive
night.
Action TV show. People, catch you guys later. Peace.